Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Thursday, November the 17th, starting with the SP 500 here. I believe we're coming down into wave 4 at the 38.2% retracement level, and then we'll push up into wave 5. Now, when we get to wave 5 up here, I won't really know if we've got a wave C or wave 1 here. So I'll need to let this play out over yonder here for that. Is it possible to squash all of this up here and put wave 3, 4 and 5 in here? It's possible and plausible, but probably not probable. And the reason is that wave 2 was simple and sharp. That would leave wave 4 sideways and complex, and it's not there yet for that. And the other reason is I'm not really getting 5 waves down in this move through here. It's more like an ABC correction, but we just need to be aware of that and everything else that we can be aware of, and but for the meantime I'm just going to leave that here. Now, it may not come all the way down here. It does look like this is a bit corrective in here, so we should breach that low there, or at least have some sort of double low there. Now, what happens if if I'm wrong and we got wave 5 in here? Well, if I can just draw it over here and coming from this top here, well, this first move down would have to be wave 1, right? And then we would have wave 2 that's coming back at that, and then we would have wave 3. Now, that wave 3 would be would be an identifier as a third wave at that point, but there's no point in chasing the market down at that point, because we know that we'll get a 4th wave and a 5th wave, and then we're going to get a a corrective rally at that point coming back up. Probably just checking this supply area here again, so we'll be back to where we started. So based on those 5 waves, then we can short over here for that. And if we did short, it might just be the A wave here and the B wave that we're shorting, this B wave here, and coming down we may just get a C wave down at that point. But that's okay, because normally when we've got the 5 waves here and this move coming down here, at least we can get to break even or a very small profit in that trade, and with our fingers crossed and a bit of hope and all the rest of it, it may turn into a larger 5 wave structure. So it's always a little bit risky. So that's where we are, really. This is really where the stock market is as well, actually. So of course, each one will be different in their own way. There's a few different ones like Meta and Tesla, and but basically whatever market that you're trading, if this is correct, then you've got to kind of figure out how you can get your wave count to fit what's actually going to happen. I don't know if this is actually going to happen at this point, but it doesn't seem like we've got our 5 waves up here yet, just in a very simple practical form. So we can look at things, this is Apple, of course, and we could look at Apple as 5 waves down here, and we could look at it as an A wave here, just shooting the breeze here really, and then a C wave here, and have a top in here, and have the top here, and we come down at that point. That's possible. It's also possible, as I just mentioned, with the SP 500, that we have wave 3 in here and wave 4 in here and wave 5 in here as a top. But I just don't think that's the case, and I don't think we need to do anything either. The stochastics is pulling back, so that kind of helps us with the 4th wave business a little bit. So I'm thinking that if correct, 4th waves can get a bit messy, but we'll look for wave 5 to come up, and if you can count 5 waves up here, and then you can count the 5th wave, and then you can count 5 waves in the 5th wave, well, then you can look to short. If you can't do that, then you have to wait for the first little tiny 5 waves to come down, and then look for the ABC, and then look to short based on those 5 waves at that point. Trading against the trend is always a little bit tricky, and it can take 1 to 4 times at least to get the top. So always trade with a very small amount at the top, and that way you don't have to worry about losses, because the losses can upset you mentally. So but anyway, that's sort of where we are in a bit of a nutshell. Once again, we can have wave 5 here as wave 1 and back for wave 2, or we can have wave C here of B and then come down. In this case, because we haven't actually made a new low below here, I would put the preference to having wave C of B here at this point. But we have to wait for evidence, we have to move along, validating the facts the best we can. It's not a perfect world, but that will be it. So from 5K tick here, so I want to have a little closer look at this top here, because it does look like in this case we can have 5 waves down here. But in this case here, going up here, this is probably wave 1 here, and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 5 in here. So we've got that 5 waves. So putting this here and looking for this, if this is 5 waves here, then we may get, it'll be out of sync though, we'll get a B wave and a C wave to come back here. It could be something like that, Let's just go to the 1000 ticks and so this is where we were yesterday. We talked about having a low in here and having a low in here, and obviously that's not the case, so we can take that away. This does appear to be sort of 5 waves here, so that's a little bit sort of haunting, but we'll just sort of play it out a little bit, see what the next session brings. It can also be an A wave and a B wave and a C wave down here as well, because the rally was 50% rather than 40%, so that's one way to look at it. But I'll just show you those 5 waves in case you want to toy with that a little bit further. So this will be the 5 waves coming down from the top here as 1, 2, 3, and A, B, C for the 4th wave here, and there is 5 waves in here to 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So counts quite nicely. This could be counted as corrective or impulsive, but yeah, as I mentioned, we could view this too, just to be fair, as an A and a B and a C wave down here at this point. That would be the other way to look at it. I mean, it's quite a good B wave. It's quite big really, compared to this. But we expect 4 to be, bigger, but and also 4 is quite big too, because like wave 3 is quite an emotional event, and when something big emotional happens to you, it takes you time to untie all the little strings of attachment and so on. So wave 4s are a bit like a bit of a breakup when you first love, so to speak. So yeah, anyway, we'll see how that goes. We're just, I mean, this is the whole thing. We're at a major level, non-major level, a medium level, but one humongous number, and we can see the market dancing, above and below this number in group 1 here, and group 2 it's doing everything that it's supposed to be doing. So yeah, once they get to maturity stage over this side, because I always halve them up, so always sort of try to find that top, and then you got this side and then you got this side, so you always wait for this side, and the more that it matures, then the more that you'll understand and the better decisions that you'll make. But if you start making money anywhere in this space, the idea with the levels is to trade to the level, get out and just wait. And wait. I know it's difficult to detach, but if you've made money in this trend here, you're going to give it back here. It's as simple as that. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Anyway, not to waffle too much. So with Nvidia here, I'm looking for another move to the upside as a wave 4. So I think 100 ticks. So it's at the 38.2% retracement now. It doesn't look like we've got 5 waves down here. I mean, part of it's impulsive. If it came down further, well then, it could turn into 5 waves. But at this stage, we don't have it. So we'll just be a little bit more patient, and I mean, really, at the end of the day, day traders and that can trade up. If you see it strong, you can trade up. But then we have to, we can get to 5 waves here. You can have little bets on to short down here, because we might be coming a long way down at this point. That's what I'm not quite sure about. Yeah. So Amazon. Yeah. Yesterday, I was talking about this over the last few days. The move to the upside is a little bit hard to to understand. It will be something like, you know, 1 and 2, I'd be like wave 1 and 2 here, or 1 and 2 here, and then sort of, I don't know, maybe to here, and then the third wave to here or something, and the fourth to here, and then the fifth here. It'd be something like that, and you could probably label it differently as well. But I just wanted to give it a bit of time at the level here, so I could kind of, you know, really figure out, because, you know, I kind of want to know rather than sort of guessing. I need something to grab hold of, you know, and yeah, so, but it does look like we've got a little 5-wave structure here now, so that's sort of interesting. And we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, so we've got 5 as an A and a B and a C wave here. I mean, really, I'd just put this over here for that and wouldn't worry about the spike too much, because I can see the 5 waves in that structure at that point. But yeah, so we could be seeing, you know, as far as it looks so far, seeing 3, 4 and 5 to come up here, and that will be, you know, something to sort of match the size of this trend to a point, you know. Let's see how we go. I mean, you can trade long if you see strength, you know, but not too much under the level here, better on above the level. Meta platforms, each way I look at this here, this trend to the upside, it reminds me more of an impulse wave than a corrective wave, you know, but I'm just sort of putting it in line with the other ones at this stage. But it does look rather bullish. It looks like we'll get 5 waves here. Every which way I look at it, I can't get a corrective wave out of it. So yeah, in this case, we'll probably get the 5 waves, it looks like, and have an ABC pattern at this point, and then push up at that point. So this is one that could be bullish. What have I done on the one that's on 10 ticks? What have I done on 100? Okay, I've got it like this is a corrective pattern, right? Okay. Yeah, this one too, I'll just have to let mature a little bit. You know, I think I may have mentioned yesterday, we've seen it strong in these moves here, you know, and then it's still strong here, but then it's slowing down, you know, and you know that it's creeping because you're getting overlapping wave structures. The lows overtake the previous highs, where here they didn't, you know. So then you know that the market's creeping when you see a set of that. So you know that you're close to a top at that point. So I'll just see how this plays out. I'm not quite sure. I won't call a trade on this yet. But it will be the case at the top of the market with all of these that, you know, there's nothing really to trade at the moment, but everything will be tradable at some point. Rightio, so for this market, yesterday we were looking at it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then looking at it as 1 and 2 here. It's sort of hanging in there, not looking good. Maybe I've made a little bit of a mistake, and this wave 4 like needs to be over here with the rest of the market in some way or another. I'm not quite sure. I know the market's sticking to this number as well, so I don't need to do anything really here. You know, if you get a clear break of the top, you could trade. You do a quick trade upwards, but otherwise just be a little bit careful. You know, we may get some other weirdness happening here, but you know, that looks like a little 5-wave structure. That looks corrective, that looks impulsive. Not sure about that one there, but you know, so it could pop. So taking that top out there as a long trade and getting to 2 and taking you know, taking 70-80% of it off and leaving the rest to the next number, that would be about right. But I'm thinking here 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 5 up here, the A, B and C over here for that. In this case, this market is bullish because it took this top out here. So this one, you know, this one's bullish. Enphase that we do, that looks like it's bullish. Meta may be bullish. So there's a few there that have got bullish tendencies. So, you know, I kind of weigh that up against the bearish cases, you know, and try to get some sort of understanding with that. So with Enphase here, the first thing, well, the danger point in all of this, as I mentioned yesterday, we could have wave 3 here with an A wave here, and then an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave at this top here to make a bigger B wave. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave over here for that. That's the downside to that. The positive side is from the low, we've got wave 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here. So we should be pushing up. So with those other markets, the S&P and all the rest of it, when they push up into wave 5, then we should see this push up further here. We do need to take out this top here to really validate that this is not a B wave here. Anything in between this, anything under here is at risk. We were looking yesterday, I don't need that now, we're looking yesterday at this here pulling back to the 50-60%, so that's there at the moment. So technically we could bring our stop up to this point. That would take a bit of heat off. We can put this, we can bring that down from that one down to that one. So really our exposure is this one here. You may have another position in here. We talked about that a little bit off and on. I was a bit this and bit that on that. But what I'll do with this here, it's at 295. I'm going to bring it down to 292. 292. Just under 292, 66, 29166. Just in case we get this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave in here. So that's where we are with that. So it's just, yeah, I think getting that top there is at, at that point. And like I mentioned, you know, we want to get sort of a few small positions below the level, which we kind of got, and then we want to get 3 or 4 positions in here as well, and try to move the stop up and protect things. Once we got the 330 as the tested support, then we know that we're leaving this number, and yes, the 5 is next, and it is the 5 that when you track the market depth, when this becomes the support here, what you'll see is you'll see the orders building up at this number and diminishing at this number. It's like sort of a magnet in mathematics, sort of numbers coming and going. But basically, once this is done here, then we can be looking up at this number. But the 350 is really important because it's the halfway mark between everything. So getting support here is just a critical step along the way, and there will be a correction here, but it does give you a chance to add another position here. You can take money off the table when you get here, you can put it back in on a pullback, you can put it back in on the level here, but the thing is that when this trade really is about from this number to that number. That's what we're looking at. And the idea is to build in the beginning of the trend as best we can, and then even building in through group 1 here. Once we've got a position on top of 330 here, maybe 333, 36 or something like that, then we don't add any more in this space here, because once we get to here, this correction here, it will be like this here. It'll react here, come back to the 40, come up to sort of 60 somewhere there, or 356 or something, and then it's going to have some sort of ABC here that sometimes can come back down and test the 30, but most of the time it sits on the 40. So it's a bit of a roller coaster here. But what happens in this particular space here, if you've got these positions in here and here, this distance here, that basically locks in a lot of profit for you, you know, and then you feel very relieved once you've got this point, and then you feel comfortable putting another one in here because you've banked all that money. And if that gets triggered in a classic trading levels pattern, well, then the stop goes to this point. So that means you've locked in all of that at that point, you know, and then it's up to 365, 372, 380 group 2 here, and then up to the 4. Anyway, just a bit of an experiment, just shooting the breeze a bit. Okay, so that's that. Don't need that. So basically, from here on in, it's sort of fingers crossed, because you know the reality of all of this is that if the S&P here, for example, has a push up to here, you know, this is where we can have an A and a B and a C here. I can't confirm that we're in a bullish market at this point. You know, I can when I sort of look at the US banks, or well, Goldman Sachs and a few other markets. It is there. So we kind of really want, you know, if Enphase is going to be bullish, we kind of really need this to be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. And pushing up there. I mean, there's a good case for it. You know, there's a 50-50 bet with all of this, that's for sure, and it's been looking stronger all the time. So it could be, you know, but we do need that top taken out next, because that will remove that B wave. Tesla. So when we spoke about Tesla yesterday, we had first of all, I said that it's a little bit confusing, this pattern here, a little bit rough, but we labeled it an ABC, yada yada yada. But then now we'll need to put this here and the B wave over here. Well, actually, I'll just leave that as it is. It does look a little bit impulsive to the downside here, so we may have that top in play here. You know, that can be over here for that. But don't feel like you're missing anything, because this move down through here is going to bounce off these lows here. There's more work to be done here just yet, but for the meantime, we're just going to call it a B wave here. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And that would just simply be the A, the B, and the C wave down here for that. So it could be more bearish, but we'd need that 180 as the retested resistance for that. So we'll just see if we get this other side over here, because getting this other side over here would match up with the S&P and the Nasdaq, you know, having that wave 5 pushing up over there. So we're just going to be a little bit patient on that one. And Google here, we're looking up at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, the fourth wave. So it seems to be going okay. It does look a little bit impulsive at this point here, as 1 and 2 in here, some sort of 3 and 4 in here, or 1 and 2 again. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be ahead of the pack a little bit. I mean, this is another one that can have some type of low in here, you know, because, you know, we looked at the communications sector yesterday, and, you know, it counts down reasonably well, as, you know, and this looks like a little 5 waves up here. This is 3 waves. So, you know, we're kind of looking at this being an A and a B and a C wave here, and then ending on 5 waves and then coming down. So we'll see. But you look, if this is some sort of low here and we're going to go back up here, well then, you know, we just got to get this right here, because you'd want to take a position for the longer term in that case, and they'll play catch up in due course. So yeah, anyway, everything's still, you know, going in the right direction. There's nothing to do here, because you know, as I mentioned with one of the other markets, is that the markets were strong here, and then they're getting, it's got good form, this leg here, but they're just getting sort of slower, and getting those overlaps in those structures, that low to that high. This one here had a little bit of space in it. This one here is like well clear. So we can see that it's slowing down into this number here, and is not a place to make decisions. It's a place to be patient. So Microsoft has pretty much got the same count in the bigger picture of the A, the B, and the C up here for this. But it doesn't count as well up here, but I'm just going to sort of force it into this particular count that we've got here when we look at it. So yesterday we looked at wave 4 being in here. It's held up quite nicely, but this is in 3 waves, that's in 3 waves. So it looks a little bit like a triangle pattern, but maybe I don't really have 3 waves in here unless I go an A and a B and a C here for that. So maybe an A, B, C, D, and E here, and then we go up at that point. Of course, it could drop down, but we're looking for the markets to be positive, so we'll look for that one more move to the upside. It just doesn't count very nicely in here, that's all, you know. It will be something weird, like 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the third wave here, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave. It'll be something like that, you know. But I'm just going to take it with a pinch of salt and move it into the same count as the other markets. And yeah, we need that to top out. Berkshire Hathaway, so we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and looking for 4 here. We may have 4 already in and pushing up, but we still need that one more high to come into place at that point. Now that could be a top in the market. We could look for wave 1 here, or we could look for a top of a correction here. So I'll need to gather more information over here, but it doesn't hurt us to look at the short side once we get up there, and you can also trade that long to the upside. This is block here. So there's different ways to view all this, but I'm kind of viewing it in the same way as the S&P and that, because it's it's on the New York desk. So I'm looking at a bit weird, but 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, so diminishing into that 50-60% retracement level. I don't have a lot of faith in this particular count, but I was looking for a wave 4 and then looking for that wave 5 to move to make another new high here. So we'll see how that goes, but it could certainly just drop from here as well. I mean, we could look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to here, for example. But it'd be interesting to get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, because then the other side of this interests me a lot. We're going to look at it as a wave C, but it could also be bullish as well. We could look at it as 5 waves up for wave 1, and then look at this back for wave 2 again. We'll keep an eye on its mate PayPal and a few others, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, over to the banks just quickly. Same sort of story. We're looking for a wave 4 and then looking for wave 5 to the upside here. This is coming into its 50-60% retracement level. JP is pretty much the same, but Goldman's have moved quite high, as we will see. So I won't go into the intraday today. We're still looking for one more move to the upside into this box here for that. We'll keep viewing that as an A and a B and a C wave at this point. But yeah, we may need to be looking at it as, in this case here, wave 1, because it's coming from the low here. We'll see how that goes, but we'll be definitely looking for short trades here again. And Goldman's have come right up, but it still could be a B wave up here as well. We can look at this as this wasn't the low, this was the low, so we can look at it as wave 1 and 2 and wave 3 up here. It'd be pushing it pretty way out of sync with the other markets. So we can look at it being wave 3, but we also need to take it pretty seriously as a wave C of B here, and look at all of this here as the A wave here, the B wave up here, and the C wave over here. So we'll see how that goes, and it won't probably come down very much. It'll be just a flat correction as such. So if it's going to be that, we'll have to turn this into 5 waves. Oh no, we could go 3, 3, 5. But yeah, so anyway, we have to wait, and we'll look at the turn and we'll see if we can get a nice setup to the downside. But we have to once we can confirm that the markets, that the S&P is coming, once we can confirm that the S&P is actually coming down at this point, then everything is going to be coming down pretty much, Alrighty, well that's it. Thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. Cheers.